Cricket is my passion and I cannot avoid it.
A team which had gone for all money have the chance to have all the money. Well, that's Team Pakistan for you, down and out just 3-4 days before. But today they are in the final and waiting for India or England to discuss about how Pakistan has come back and how this wonderful World Cup have unfolded in Australia. I have an Australian legend, Shane Watson. Welcome to the show.
Anas, thank you so much for having me. Gosh, yes, it has been a very eventful few days for the Pakistan cricket team and the Pakistan fans. Gosh, for them to be able to find their way into a semi-final and then play as well as they did tonight, it's a big turn of events, but very, very exciting for all the Pakistan cricket fans.
Absolutely, Watto. Just 3 days before they were unsure whether they will make it, and then Netherlands helped them beat South Africa. But then you have to give credit to them that they have won the semi-final. You can't now say that Pakistan have come through the back door. They have come on their own merit. Let's give it to them.
Oh, absolutely. It was a huge surprise. It's still hard for me to get my head around South Africa losing that game against the Netherlands. So the Netherlands, throughout the whole tournament, bowled very nicely, very disciplined, but their batting wasn't their strength. But it's still very hard to get my head around South Africa losing. But there was an opportunity for that game against Pakistan and Bangladesh to turn into a quarterfinal, and they played well enough to be able to get it across the line. But tonight they were outstanding. The way they bowled and especially the way they fielded, like to be able to see how many balls they cut down. That run out from Shadab Khan of Devon Conway was a huge turning point as well in the game. But the way they fielded, their intensity was something that I haven't seen that often with the Pakistan team, not as consistently throughout a whole 20 overs. They normally can have a few stars that are putting their hands up, but everyone in the field put in, and then the bowlers executed so well as well. So they just didn't give the New Zealand batters a chance to really get going. They bowled beautifully. Shane Shafridi bowled so nicely in that very eventful first over to get Finn Allen out. And they just kept making it really difficult for the New Zealand innings to get going, and they never did. And then Rizwan and Baba Azam just stood up as they do, got the team off to just such a solid start at a time they hadn't had a chance to be able to do that, and they weren't able to do that throughout the tournament up until this point. But the Sydney wicket was a nice wicket for them to bat on as well. So I'm stoked for the Pakistan. Like obviously they are a very, very good team. And then when you see the way they played tonight, they're going to be really hard to beat if they turn up and play like that again. Whether it's India or Pakistan, India or England playing in the final, if Pakistan turn up like they did tonight, they're going to be really, really hard to beat.
Well, you hit the nail, Otto. They will be a very hard team to beat, and now the momentum is fully with them. They've taken us first to 92 when they were, in Australia when Imran Khan won after being, as cornered Tigers, and then in the 2017 Champions Trophy, this Pakistan team knows how to bounce back, and they bounce back when they are pushed to the wall.
Well, that's it. Well, they had no choice, and in the end, they got a lucky break, and now, with that opportunity they got, they weren't really expecting after the way they played in the first part of the tournament. Now you can see the emotion come out of all the players after the game. That sheer elation about being able to think that they've know that they've got through to another or to a final, an opportunity to be able to play in a World Cup final, where it seemed like it was going to be a long way off. Is something just it's beautiful to see how much it obviously means to the players, and for them to be able to put it together in a semi-final like they did. Every facet of the game was outstanding, and that's really hard to do. It's hard there might be a few individuals who at times put their hands up but for the whole collective team in a semi-final, World Cup semi-final, to do what they did. It was very impressive.
Your Australian teammate, who's the mentor of Team Pakistan, Matthew Hayden, said it's the lull before the storm, and how right he was about Babar Azam. Classes per month, isn't it?
Oh, it certainly is. And the thing with the Australian wickets at the start of the tournament, they were very challenging for the opening batters. There wasn't too many opening batters throughout the whole tournament who really were able to get going, because the balls, it's a bit of inconsistent bounce, the ball swinging around. So it was really difficult for the opening batters, and no one really was able to get going. But tonight, those guys know their games inside out. They knew once they got on a decent wicket, more of a traditional cricket wicket here in Australia, like the SCG is. It wasn't going to take them much to be able to just find their groove. And Rizwan and Bubba have just done it for the last, 2 years, really. They've just dominated. So it was always just a matter of time for it to click together. And what a time to do it in a World Cup T20 semi-final. But having Matt Hayden there, they're very fortunate to have Matt Hayden. I was so lucky to have him as a mentor throughout my career. So I know what he's going to be giving them, instilling them confidence, making them just focus on what they can control, and just doing that over and over again. So yeah, I know he'll be having a great impact with that team.
All right. So one team has already put their foot into the door and are on the way to Melbourne.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's semi-final, India versus England. What does your heart and your mind say?
Oh gosh, well, they're so evenly matched, England and India, and it shows by the games they've played against each other. There's no team leading their matchups at all. So it's going to be a really, really good game of cricket. Look, there's no question it'd be amazing for India and Pakistan to play a World Cup final here in MCG. I missed out on that game. I didn't commentate on that game, so I missed out on that experience. But I am going to the final. So I would love to be able to experience a World Cup final with India and Pakistan playing together. So my heart's saying India, but I don't know. I'm not sure, because they're just India and England are so well matched up. So it's going to be a great game of cricket, but I certainly would love an India-Pakistan final. I know most people around the world, apart from the English fans, everyone else would love to see that as well.
So I want to ask you a question. Now that Pakistan has made it to the finals, will that put extra pressure on India when they play tomorrow, England, or it's just another semi-final? How do you say that?
I think it does, for sure. After Pakistan won, that's the first thing I thought about was, gosh, now because everyone's hoping, apart from the English, everyone's hoping that it's an India-Pakistan final for so many different reasons. They just want to experience it and experience a game like that again, especially in a World Cup final. So I think there's more pressure on India now to go, well, Pakistan they've done the right thing. So now it's time for you guys to make sure that you get through, which there's certainly no guarantees in cricket. So I think there could be that little bit of extra pressure. Well, there will be that little bit of extra pressure on the expectation that, well, you need to get through to the final as well. So interesting to see how the Indian players navigate their way around that.
Or the other way, does it motivate you as a team that, no, you guys have made it, we are also up for there? Or it's more on the other side?
Well, you've got to turn it into that. You've got to turn it into, well, that extra motivation, that extra burning desire to make sure that you are disciplined with your mindset, with your skill, every single ball that you're out there. So it either can really concentrate and galvanize your mind, or it can go the other way where you just get overawed and you start worrying about that we need to get there instead of just focusing on what's right in front of you. Yeah, exactly. Every ball, and just doing it to the best of your ability over and over again. So India, they play these games all the time, these big games all the time, especially against Pakistan. So they know how to step things up, and they've got a few people in particular who know how to step up in big games as well. One being Virat Kohli. So I'd be surprised if he doesn't score more runs again.
So that would have been my next question. If you see this tournament for India the batting has depended too much on Virat and Surya's shoulder. So England definitely will come with a plan that how do they knock off these two guys, because the other guys have not done anything good or great in this tournament.
Yeah, well, KL Rahul has batted nicely in a couple of the games.
Fair point.
Unfortunately, Rohit Sharma, he's certainly well due. And the wicket's going to be a nice wicket in Adelaide as well. So India are going to be hoping that Rohit Sharma can really put his hand up in this game as well, to be able to you're right, to take a little bit of that heat off Virat and Surya Kumar, because both of those guys have just been incredible, especially Surya Kumar has just been a revelation, hasn't he? Through that middle order and those middle overs, for him to be able to hit boundaries so easily like he does. There's not too many people that ever played the game of T20 cricket who can do it like he does. So, but he's not going to do that every single game, and he just about has. But you can't expect to be reliant on him being able to do that every single time he goes out to play. So that's where Carl Roll and Rohit Sharma, there's going to be, I think they're going to have to be the ones to put their hands up. And the other one is, for me, is Hardik Pandya. He's obviously, I saw a very interesting stat today around Hardik that of recent times in the big game, in the big tournaments, the first game of the tournament, he does really well, and then it sort of peters out. So in the Asia Cup, he did really well against Pakistan. In this World Cup, he did really well in that first game with Virat, and then sort of petered out. So he's an incredible player. So he can always turn that around straight away. But I definitely, the other players need to just put their hands up. So it's just not left for Virat and Surya Kumar, because it's going to be a day where it's not their day, and you can't just rely on those guys to be able to win the game.
Right. I have to ask you this: who would you play, Pant or DK?
Jeez, well, obviously DK has done an incredible job of recent times, just finishing off innings, playing the small, really cameo innings right towards the back end of an innings. So I'd be surprised if they went against DK, because he's done that, and he did that in the IPL, and he's done that for India over the last 6 months as well. So, and Rishabh just hasn't been able to really find his feet consistently at T20 cricket yet. He certainly will, because he's got the game, but he hasn't really found a great method like DK has at the moment. And especially the time where Rishabh most probably will bat will be the back end of an innings. And DK is just he's been able to nail that. We've seen it, the skill that he's got, he's been able to nail that. So I'd be surprised if they went against DK, but yeah, I'm not sure.
Won't they be tempted to take on Rashid with a left-hander?
They certainly can, and that's the huge weapon that he provides. Not just being a world-class batter, but he's a left-hander as well, to be able to break up those middle overs with the spinners. Also, it means that having a left and right hand all the way through, it certainly provides another great option. But you just want your best, whether you're right-handed or left-handed, you just want your best players. And yes, if it's a perfect storm, like it, if Rishabh was batting incredibly well, then that's just as perfect as it gets. We got to break up the left and right hand combination. So again, I would be going more towards DK just right now, just knowing the role that he's going to play, and that's going to be more so a finishing role, because I've got the other players to sort of be able to bat through that middle period, like Surya Kumar, and also Hardik, who did incredibly well in the IPL for Gujarat, batting through those middle overs. So he's got the aim to be able to do that as well.
And we discussed about UZ. Do you think him playing tomorrow?
Look, I have been surprised that Yuzi hasn't played. Having a leg spinner, a world-class leg spinner who can bowl very, very easily to left and right-handers, whereas and he's obviously a very skilled bowler. Whereas when you've got like an orthodox bowler, so an off spinner like Ashwin, or you got Axar, who's obviously a skilled bowler, especially to right-handers, then like when the matchups come up, like Axar might, if they got all left-handers, then he might hardly bowl. Whereas when you got Yuzi, he's bowling all the way through, because he can bowl left and right-handers. So that's always such a strength of a leg spinner who can spin the ball both ways. So they're not just waiting on a matchup to work. So I don't think they'll go to Yuzi now after not playing him the whole tournament. You can't just sort of not playing and then just playing in a semi-final. So I'd be surprised they went against it. But initially, I was a bit surprised that Yuzi didn't play, because it just gives you a few more options and a few more matchup options, especially through that middle period.
So Water thinks it's too late now to get Yuzi. Well, as a cricket fan, I hope India gets a surprise weapon and just throws in Yuzi into the big pool against England.
He's an incredible bowler. There's no question. I always found him a challenge to play in a game, but also at training. He got me out a lot at training when I was playing at RCB with him. So I know how skillful he is, and on the bigger grounds as well. He would be in Australia. He would have been hard work. But again, I don't think it's the right thing to do to sort of chop it, like to change a position like an important
At the last
position
moment.
like that. Absolutely, I don't think that's going to do more damage to the team environment than it will just to be able to get him in for one game.
And for England, whom do we watch out for?
Well, Josh Butler, the matchup between Joss Butler and Boovy, I think, will be something really special to watch, because Boovy bowls very nicely to him, and Joss is obviously when on his day is as good as there's ever been. So I think that matchup is going to be something really special to watch. And I think Rashid, I think he's going to be a really important player for England to be able to just try and have more of an impact through those middle overs. He hasn't got a good record in Australia at all, Rashid, which is interesting because he's a world-class leg spinner, but he just hasn't been able to really have that penetration through those middle overs, a wicket-taking penetration like some other leg spinners like Zampa or Zampa in particular sort of had, and Rashid can't. So I think he's going to be a really important bowler through those middle overs to be able to try and expose India a little bit, try and get Virat, try and get Surya Kumar out to try and get into that middle order a bit more. So I think he's going to be one of the key people for England tomorrow night.
And what would you do if you win the toss at Adelaide? It's a used wicket.
Is a used wicket. The tosses throughout this tournament, well, the teams that have batted first have been the ones that have been more successful. So, yeah, and it's going to be a bit of a used wicket. So if I won the toss in a big game, excuse me, in a big game, I always say it's better to put runs on the board. Yeah, it's better to put runs on the board. So, yeah, if I won the toss, I'll be batting first.
But doesn't it come onto the bat nicely later in the night in Adelaide?
It does, but it's the sun's going to be going down a bit anyway as well. But yeah, the wicket's not going to change. It's not going to change a lot. But yeah, the pressure runs in a semi-final. It can do some crazy things at times. So runs on the board, I always prefer.
So I wanted to put your neck out and pick a winner tomorrow.
So my heart's saying India for sure, because I want to go and watch a India-Pakistan World Cup T20 final. But so I'm going to go towards India, but I don't know who's going to win, because they're so well matched up, those two teams, India and England. So it's going to be a great game of cricket.
But as an Aussie, you would never like to see an English in the final and lift the cup.
No, that's right. I prefer India and Pakistan to sort of fight it out.
You better put your feet up and enjoy the final.
Yeah, that's it.
Anyways, great having you, Otto, on the show. We hope what you say comes out right. And we as Indian fans are equally want to see the India-Pakistan final. And then we'll discuss about that if that happens in any case.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Have a great night. Sleep well.
Yep. Have a good night, mate. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, mate. Bye.